डॉक्टर बाबा साहेब आंबेडकर ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी.
Namaskar dear students, I Dr. Himanshu Patel welcome you from the Chaitanya studio of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Open University. We are in lecture series for the subject of Bachelor in Computer Application BCA 102, that is operating system. So I welcome you all for this session. In today's session we will start with the learning objective for today's session is, first of all, we discuss definition of operating system. Then we try to understand how modern operating system evolves. So, evaluation of operating system. Then we discuss general category of operating system. And after completing this lecture, you are able to answer questions like what are the operating system functionalities and what are the activities performed by the modern operating system. So, let us start with what is operating system. So, on screen you can see that there is a 4 layers. First is user, then application, then operating system, and at bottom there is a hardware. So, the basic objective of operating system is to manage computer hardware. So, immediately above hardware comes operating system. Now, all other programs, which may be application program or any other program, it depends on the facility provided by operating system, and it is a intermediate layer between user and computer hardware. So, it also provides basis for application program and act as an intermediary between computer user and the computer hardware. So, before, suppose you are buying new computer, what you have to do is, first you need to install operating system, which may be any operating system, but before installing any other program, you must install operating system in order to run other program. So now we have understanding that all other program depends on the facility provided by operating system, and operating system is the immediate interface between users and your computer hardware. Now, let us try to discuss the various definitions of operating system. So, let us start with first definition. So, first definition says operating system can be defined as a system program that monitors works of application program. Now, here there are two terms. First is system program and another is application program. Now, what is system program? A program that closely interact with hardware is known as a system software, and a program which is designed for specific application. For example, Microsoft Word is an application program which is a word processing software. So, it is designed for word processing. Similarly, Microsoft Excel is designed for creating spreadsheets. So, it is another example of application program. So, system program closely interact with hardware, and application program designed for specific application. So, operating system is example of system software. Why? Because its definition says it closely interact with your computer hardware. Then it is the responsibility for the loading and execution of application program. Now, when you install some program, it is kept on secondary memory or it is installed in hard disk. Now, whenever you double click on icon of particular program, that program start executing or running. Now, what will happen that to execute any program, we must need to load it into main memory or primary memory or RAM. So, it is the responsibility of operating system to load these program on secondary storage device, to load into main memory and then execute it. So operating system is also responsible for loading and executing of application programs. Now it has to make sure the availability of the required hardware and software before executing the application program. So one definition is, first of all, it is a system program. Second, it is also responsible for loading and executing program. And third, it also ensures that all the hardware and software required is available to particular user or program before start executing that program. Now let us try to understand another definition of operating system. So on screen you can see the second definition of operating system. Operating system can also be defined as system software which act as a bridge between the hardware and its user. Now as a user you don't know how to load file from hard disk into main memory for viewing, but when you click on file menu and open particular file, it is loaded by operating system for viewing that particular file. So it satisfies the whatever requirement to use hardware by the user. So suppose I want to open file, but I don't know where that file is located on a hard disk. It is responsibility of operating system to search that particular file from hard disk and load it into your application program for viewing that particular file. The operating system, according to this definition, has a responsibility to hide the complexity of the underlying hardware for the end user. If you know the structure of hard disk, it is divided into tracks, sectors, etc. So you don't know where that particular file is located on hard disk, but operating system make it easy to locate that file for you. So it hides all the complexity of hardware from user. The end user is not supposed to know the details of hardware component like CPU, memory, disk drive, etc. So everything is hid by the operating system, and it provides user friendly interface for the user to access all these hardware components. Now I hope you understand the basic definition of operating system. So in brief we can say operating system is a resource manager which manage resources of computer like hard disk, CPU, primary memory, etc., input output devices, etc. It also responsible for loading and executing program. It is also manage input output devices, etc. Now let us look at the major evolution of operating system. So in earlier days it starts from wiring up plug boards, then comes the concept of serial processing where every job is performed one by one, that is serial processing. Then to improve the efficiency of serial processing, the concept of batch processing was evolved where similar jobs are batched together for execution. Then comes spooling batch processing where input output processing and input processing and output is overlapped, execute in overlapped fashion. So that is known as a spooling batch processing. Then comes the concept of multi-programming where multiple programs are executed simultaneously. And there is a concept of time sharing operating system where CPU time quantum is divided among many users. Now there is only one CPU, but there are multiple users that is able to use the same CPU by allocating CPU time to different user for a few milliseconds. Then comes real time processing. We will discuss all these operating system in detail one by one. Then comes network processing operating system or network operating system, and finally Now we have distributed processing operating system also. So this is how one by one operating system becomes more user friendly, more features are added one by one. So how modern operating system evolves, that we studied in this lecture. Now let us start with the beginning of operating system, where wiring up plug boards are used. So in this case, low level programming means machine language programming, where we directly provide data in form of 0 and 1s. So low level programming language called machine language was used to write computer instruction through wiring up plug boards. So there is a concept of card in which you have to feed this data in form of 0 and 1 using this machine language programming language, and plug board controls the basic functions of the computer. We can say there are no operating system software were introduced because we are directly giving instruction in form of 0 and 1s or in machine language itself, and no operators were required, and complex programming and machine utilization is not proper. We can say it takes lot of time in feeding input data, then processing, and finally get output. So we can say CPU can perform much faster, but we are not utilizing at that much speed. So it is CPU remains underutilized in this case. Then comes the concept of serial processing. As its name suggests, serial means one by one. So user get access in series or one after another. On screen you can see that there is a program or task 1 which is executed by CPU and you will get result. After that, another program which represent task 2 is executed by CPU, and then you get output for that task 2. So we can say program execute one by one or in serial fashion or in serial manner. Now program writing was improved because now we can immediately execute another program or task. So program writing was improved, but disadvantage is that it wastes time due to scheduling and setup, and it also wastes time while operators walk around the machine room, and large machine or processor ideal time. It also not make better utilization of CPU speed. So we can say still CPU is not much utilized in case of serial processing. So what is the answer to this problem? So there is a concept of batch processing evolves, in which to speed up the processing, jobs with similar needs are batched together and run as a group. On screen you can see there are multiple users with different job requirements. So operator will batch these jobs which are similar in nature. So these jobs which is similar in nature are batched together and is known as a batch, is given to computer for processing. Thus the programmers left their program with the operator, and operator then sorts program into batches with similar requirements. The technique is to running a batch of job. Now let us take one practical example. Now in a company, every month they need to prepare payroll or pay slip for the employees. Now every employee get different basic salary, different wages, different deductions, but the calculation remains same. Although this data vary for employee to employee, but the processing remains same. So that kind of job can be batched together in case of batch processing. So now For example, there are 1000 employees. So CPU kept busy while preparing 1000 pay slips for that employee. So we can say there is a better improvement in case of batch processing for CPU utilization. Now then comes the concept of spooling batch processing. Now if you know that, suppose I am printing some file, right? First of all, let us take full form of spooling. Spooling means simultaneous peripheral operation online, and it is the ability to read job or print job output while the processor executes job. And it reads job from card to disk, then print job output from disk to printer, and used in input and output processor. So while we are reading file from card reader to disk, simultaneously CPU can print the output to the printer. So now we can say both the tasks, reading from card to disk and printing from disk to printer, is simultaneously performed. That is why its full form is simultaneous peripheral operation online. Peripheral means input output devices. So input as well as output can be run in overlapped fashions. So this is known as a spooling batch processing. Now with spooling, every time currently executing task is completed, a new task is shifted from storage to now empty panel and be executed by the OS. And spooling is the first attempt of multiprogramming. Now we can understand that while another job is in execution, we can keep a different job ready, or we can do the input for another job while current output is in under process. So that is the concept of spooling batch processing, and we can say it is the first attempt of multiprogramming where two different tasks can be performed simultaneously. Now what are the advantages? The first of all, it avoids CPU idle time between batches of job. While one batch is in execution, another batch can be kept ready, right? And it improves turnaround time. Turnaround time is another terminology. So it is the time between you submit the input to the processor and you get the final output. So it is the time between the input and output. So it is known as a turnaround time. So job start and job end time, the time duration between these two is known as a turnaround time. So we can say it improves turnaround time because we always try to keep the CPU busy. So output of job was available as soon as the job completed, rather than only after all jobs in current cycle were finished. You can keep the second batch ready before first finishes. Now what are the disadvantages? So first, obviously it results in large turnaround time, and second, large CPU idle time on heavily input output bound job. Now suppose your CPU is fast but your input output device is slow, then if your batch involves input output, then you have to wait for input output device to finish their job before start processing. So CPU have to keep idle on heavily IO bound jobs. Then comes the concept of multiprogramming. Now it is very important to understand the concept of multiprogramming. You can see in the figure there are three jobs: job A, job B and job C. Now you can see that CPU is executing job B and job C is waiting for the CPU, and you can see that job A is currently writing output data. So there are multiple jobs are performing different tasks. Job A is writing output data, job B is under execution, and job C is waiting for CPU for execution. So in multi-programming system, there are one or more programs loaded in main memory which are ready to execute. Only one program at a time is able to get the CPU for executing its instruction, while all others are waiting their turn. Now we have only one CPU. So one CPU can execute only one program at a time. So what we can do is we can kept another job ready into main memory, and while first job finishes its task in partial, we can execute another job which is ready to execute in main memory. So this is how we can share the CPU time amongst many jobs which are ready in main memory for a fraction of time. So this is how multi-programming make use of CPU utilization in better way. So the main idea of multi-programming is to maximize the use of CPU time. The only thing we have to remember is CPU should not be kept idle, or it should always busy with the job. Now suppose the currently running process is performing an IO task which does not require CPU, right? Then the operating system may interrupt that process and give the control to one of the other in main memory program that are ready to execute. As we discussed earlier, input output requires much time. So while another job keep their input data ready, what we can do is we can interrupt that program and we can start executing another program which only requires CPU. So this is how we can improve the performance. In this way, no CPU time is wasted by the system waiting for the input output task to be completed, and running process keep executing until either it voluntarily releases the CPU or when it is blocked for an input output operation. So one by one different job get executed until it is blocked for some IO operation, or it finishes its task and gives another job chance for execution. So this is how the concept of multi-programming works. Now there are many advantages of multi-programming. As we discussed, there is a very efficient utilization of CPU is possible, but at the same time multi-programming need to address some issues, right? So what are those issues? Let us discuss one by one. The first is the operating system must be able to load multiple program into separate area of main memory and provide the required protection to avoid the chance of one process being modified by another one. Now we know that to execute any program, first it must be loaded into main memory. Now main memory is a series of memory locations where you can keep your instruction and program and data, right? So suppose I am executing only one program, so entire main memory is available for that program only, right? But suppose I want to execute multiple programs, then what I need to do is I have to divide main memory into some logical parts, which is known as a partition or pages. So, and not only that, I have to keep my program into those partition or pages, and I have to keep two program data separate from each other so that they may not overwrite or modified by another program, right? Then there is a concept of fragmentation which must be handled by the operating system. Now suppose I am dividing my main memory into partitions, right? So if my program size is less than partition, then that some portion of main memory is wasted. This is known as the internal fragmentation. And suppose my program is larger than that partition, then I need to divide my program into parts that can be stored in this partition. So this kind of fragmentation should be handled by operating system. Then large programs may not fit at once in memory, which can be solved by using pagination and virtual memory. As I discussed earlier, if the program size is larger than partition, then what we have to do is we have to load that program into pages one by one, right? So this is known as a paginations or the concept of virtual memory. So this is how multi-programming evolved. Now, what are the advantage of multi-programming? First of all, it increases CPU utilization and it also reduces CPU idle time, because we are keep CPU busy with jobs every time, and it decreases total read time needed to execute job as the jobs are in main memory. So it also reduces the time to execute jobs, because most of the programs are loaded into main memory until it becomes full. So it results in faster execution of program. Now what are the disadvantages? First of all, long response time. The elapsed time to return back a result for a given job was often several hours. Nowadays it is not true, but earlier it take much time for job to finish, but now it is not true. Then poor interactivity between programmer and his program. Once you submit a program to CPU, you cannot take it away from CPU until CPU finishes that program. So that is a poor interactivity between program and his program. Thank you and happy learning.
स्वाध्यायः